Honorable, yesterday's press conference, for weeks, for months, Ghanaians had been calling for the Black Stars budget, and it wasn't coming. What actually pushed you to put the budget out at yesterday's press briefing?
Well, nothing pushed me. I indicated that we'll put the budget out when it is ready, and it was ready on the 1st of September, and we put it out yesterday, the 2nd of September. So I don't act based on anyone's push, but we act when we have to act. If you are a leader and you act based on push, then you really never lead, because that is what you are supposed to be. You're supposed to be a leader, and so you do things at the right time and not based on either what people say or what people want you to do. And that is what I have always led. There are instances where my lieutenants will think that, oh, Minister, we have to put this information out because that will help clear your image. I said, no, that's not leadership. Leadership is not about always wanting your image cleared. Leadership is about putting out what must be put out. That is what makes you a leader. I'm not into a showbiz business where you are only thinking about, oh, you must be this, you must... No. You must do what is right at the right time. Yeah. There are times, some information that you would have, that may not be the full information. So you, the leader, should not just be reacting to things. That's not what you do. So you see, as a leader, you have a responsibility to also even lead your lieutenants who are just interested in what it is that have been said about you out there. Oh, there's this accusation that you have done this. Oh, that you have done that. I say, well, you live at the right time. We will respond to all those issues collectively when you have the information that you must deal with. So yesterday was the right time, and we did it. Right. And having done it, you are convinced that you have everything because you have gone through all the stages of looking at the estimates and the support the state wants to give for the World Cup qualifiers agenda, as far as the country is concerned. So I'm happy for it. I'm happy that we did it, and I'm happy we did it the way we did it.
Right. Honorable, the elephant in the room obviously is the Black Stars budget.
Yeah.
When we talk about Black Stars budget, what is the Black Stars budget? What goes into it? What are the processes? What are the stages that budget goes
through? So thank you for this question. And this question alone may take all the time that we have for today's program, but I'll try and maybe summarize. First and foremost, let me start from the end to about how monies that is approved is spent.
Okay.
The Ministry of Sports and Recreation is the spender, the lead spender of monies that is approved for the national team.
Okay.
And I will explain what I mean by that, because I will not want to come and sit here and make it look like it is the Football Federation, that's Ghana Football Association, are the ones that all that money is handed over to for them to go and spend. No, that's not how it is.
Okay.
The monies that is approved is released to the Ministry of Finance, Bank of Ghana accounts. Then the ministry will then spend towards the various items as approved. So, for example, the hotel accommodation, you don't give the money to the FA that go and pay for accommodation. The hotel or the facility that is approved to accommodate the team will bring the invoice, and the ministry will pay to the hotel through the accounting processes. Not the minister, but the accounts officers who deal with the civil servants who are there. They go through all the processes and pay the hotel.
Okay.
The travel and tour company that gets the right to buy the tickets and or arrange a charter flight for the team also presents an invoice. Just the same way that, Raymond, you want to buy a ticket, you go to a travel and tour company, they will present you an invoice and you pay. An invoice is also submitted to cover all the invited players. And the ministry will pay that travel and tour company. If we have to rent a car to use, the company from which the car is rented from will present an invoice and the ministry will pay. If for example, Black Star has a bus, so if they purchase fuel, they will present the receipts to the fuel purchases, and the ministry will so release that amount of money to, say, the FA.
Okay.
The per diems that is paid on the table. Per diems are paid on the table. It's tabletop payments.
Okay.
So the ministry's purse holder that follows the team will pay, and every person who is entitled to will sign the payment voucher that the person will have to prepare and carry it with him or her. They sign and you pay. Then you come back and come and reconcile. The winning bonuses are not paid on the tabletop. They are non-tabletop payments. The winning bonuses are paid through the accounts of the persons who are entitled to the winning bonuses. And that one also, the ministry pays direct. Even though it's quoted in dollars, the ministry will pay the CD equivalent.
Okay.
The prevailing CD equivalent. For bonuses, it is the CD equivalent that is paid. For the per diems, if it is home game, as we played against Chad in Accra here, and we'll be playing against Mali in Accra here, they will be paid in cedis.
Okay.
The CD equivalent of, say, the $150 for players and $200 for the officials who are qualified for the per diem. Like we went to Morocco to play against Madagascar, and we are in Chad to play against our Chadian counterparts. They will be paid this per diem in dollars because that one is outside of Ghana's jurisdiction. So the only time payment is done in dollars is when you are paying per diem for away games. So in the large extent, the management of the funds is centered at the ministry.
Okay.
Let me clear this first. But what are the processes that we go through?
Yeah.
The Ghana Football Association is an association that the country has entrusted its national teams to them to manage on behalf of the country. So the FA, here in this case, the GFA, manages the national teams for us. So they will propose an estimate or cost items that will be needed to perform their duty to the ministry, the sector ministry, in this case, the Ministry of Sports and Recreation, formerly Ministry of Youth and Sports. Your duty is to now study these proposals and match it with what was previously done and recommendations from various committees and establishments in relation to how best practices should be. And you also match it with the realities of the day.
Okay.
Then you see whether there are areas you disagree with them or errors that you find. You then can call the attention of the FA to withdraw either the estimates that they've brought and to have them corrected to reflect what it is that you have sent. If you feel the headings are generally okay, but it is the amounts quoted for those headings, that one you can keep it and you attach that with your comments and forward to the office of the president, requesting for approval and direction to the finance minister to release the monies to spend. At the presidency, they also have a choice, either to go beyond you, the minister, and the ministry to even engage the FA, or invite all of you to have an engagement, or on their own, just look at the budget and say, these are things that we can do, these are things we cannot do.
Okay.
For the whole of this year, we have had 2 meetings that involve the 3 groups that I have just described in my presentation. In February, we had one between the office of the president, the ministry, and the FA. Okay. Then in June, we had another one between the office of the president, the FA, and the ministry, 3 of us. But we have had a number of meetings, either with the office of the president, the ministry and the office of the president, or the ministry and the FA, and then other online engagements. But this one I'm talking about physical meetings at the presidency. So these very last budgets, the FA brought their estimates and we looked at it. We put in a direct request to the office of the president for approval. Finally, we got the approval on the 1st of September. We relayed that approval to the finance ministry, and the finance ministry has since worked and done part release for us to cover expenses that will be incurred in Chad once we work on them. So from here, I have to go back to finance ministry to get them to do the concluding part of the request so they can release the remaining. So by the time the team returns Thursday evening, when they would have conquered their Chadian counterparts there for a maximum 3 points, we would also have to do our responsibility to honor them and prepare also for Monday. So this is what it is in terms of summary of issues.
Now, Honorable, when we look at the budget, the figures sound a bit outrageous. What goes into the budget? What are some of the budget line items that usually pop up that are very important, we can't do without, but add a lot of financial strain to the public purse?
The items are travel tickets. It's non-negotiable. Players have to travel from wherever they are based, practicing their trade, to Accra here to camp. Officials who are not in Accra here would also have to travel to base, and so tickets is something that is unavoidable. You would have to pay for tickets. When they come, they are also camped. They don't stay in their homes and come to the field. So accommodation is an item that you would have to pay for. When they are camped, they are fed. So meals, food is also an item that is dealt with. If the game is not a home game and they have to move from Accra here to any place like they did going to Chad, they have to also arrange transport for them. It may be a charter flight or it may be through the commercial ticketing. So that one also you would have to pay for. Whilst they are here, they move from the hotel to the pitch to go and train or to go anywhere to perform any function officially. The bus will move. So fuel, there's a need to fuel the bus for the bus to pick them from one point to the other. You also have to pay them per diem, which has been agreed. So you pay them per diem for every day. And the system has been that for the team, they said, even if it is 4 days in the week that they spend, they are paid for 7 days. That's what has existed. Whether it is the right thing to do or is a wrong thing to do is a matter that all of us will have to discuss. And I believe that after we've concluded this qualifying phase, it's something that we need to sit and have a proper conversation on. There is not everything that I want to ruffle now whilst we are midway through the qualifiers. But that is what it is. So even if they come and do just 3 days in a week, their standard days they use to calculate is 7 days. And this affects virtually everybody. Then you also have to spend on medicals because they can get sick, they are human. They can get sick and they have to either go to the hospital and you buy medications. There is a physician attached. So there are some of the things that you treat them there and there. They get injuries that you have to attend to all those injuries. So there's medicals. Then, of course, there's an interest for any other things that you may not have really planned for that would happen. So there's an interest. If you are the home team, you are hosting, you also have additional cost to it. It is the responsibility of the home team to purchase tickets of the officials who are coming to officiate the game. So the referee, the center referee, the assistant referees, and the fourth referee, the match commissioner, the security, all these persons, their travel cost is on you. Their accommodation is also on you. Their feeding and their indemnity is also on you. Their transport is also on you. Then the away team, you would have to arrange a bus for them and a four-wheel in addition for their officials to be able to follow the team. So these are the cost heads that goes into the budget as we have it now. There's no provision, however, for people like you, the media. We don't have any provision to support the media in any way to follow the team, to go and cover the games. No, there's no provision. There's no single cedi provided for that. So if any media person gets aided to go, then it would have been coming from other sources other than the approved budget, either personally or maybe, like I said, sometimes the Impress account, or if you are lucky, like they went to Chad, they went with a chartered flight.
Yeah.
So because there is space, it doesn't cost again to add 1 or 2 more persons that you feel can cover. So they get added, you fly them in, and then you fly them out. Okay. Then, what again? Yeah, I think these are, we don't also have budget line for fans, supporters.
Okay.
Nothing. So anyone who comes thinking that, oh, there is a budget, Black Stars budget, they've heard that it is this amount of money, and so there's something for support. There's nothing. There's not a pesewa in the budget for fans.
Okay.
Not a pesewa is in that budget. Apart from the headlines that I've mentioned here, there is no provision whatsoever for supporters, no provision for the media. So this is what goes into the team sport.
Okay.
So you usually will have about 26 players invited. So these 26, you have to budget 5,000 per head for them. So you have 26 times 5,000. When they win, you have to pay that. You pay the cedi equivalent though.
Yeah.
You have to also budget per diem for them. The 26 times 7 by 150. Then 200 times 26 also by 7, the officials. Because every official, including even the management people who go, are entitled to the per diem.
Okay.
As for per diem, they are all entitled to. But it is the winning bonuses that we have excluded the officials. The management team members have been excluded. But the players and the technical team members are the ones that are paid winning bonuses.
Okay. So, Honorable, let's come to the budget itself.
Yep.
So, let's get into our next two qualifiers, because that was the basis for your press conference yesterday. So, for our games against Chad and Mali, I know you have the budget estimate and the approved budget from government. What are the figures looking like for our game against Chad, the away game against Chad? And what have you done in contrast to the estimates you received?
So the game against Chad, let me see, Chad versus Ghana, we are looking at, for the estimates for tickets remain same, and unfortunately for all the games that I have managed, the ticket estimates have never met the real cost that we get. It's always above what they have estimated, but I don't know why the FA keeps bringing this figure, but we have had to keep it like that, and we found monies from other places sometimes to pay when we have to pay. So against Ghana, Chad-Ghana, the total approved is $856,890, as against the request that came from the FA, that was a little over $1 million. They requested for $1,239,000, but we approved $856,890.
What items were taken out for you to?
So, for example, in the request that came from the FA, well, I won't call it a request, the estimate that came from the FA, the incidental expenses when a stroke impressed was 60,000. This was reduced to 20,000.
Okay.
They were also asking for the full payment for bonuses for the head coach, the assistant coaches, the physician, physiotherapists, physical trainers, video analysts, psychologists, then the admin. They were asking for full bonuses in the request that came from the FA. We cut it by half because that is what we have agreed, that we will pay only half, and it is only on qualification to the World Cup that we will pay the rest. The kids officers and all the others too, they added it full, but we halved it. Then officials, 6 officials, they also placed in the requesting for 10,000. We completely took that one off. We also took out the payment for training facilities. We took that off because we realized that per the timings that they were giving us for departing Accra to Chad, by the time they would arrive, they would not be having any serious training on the day of arrival. They would train only today, and they would train at the game time, the time that they are supposed to play the game. And during that one training that you do is the official training, so you don't pay for official training. So we thought that that should also be out. So these are the things that were taken off that brought the budget approved to 856,890.
Yeah, with the $10,000 for the management team, why did you take it out?
Well, because we had agreed together in a meeting with the FA in February when we met that the management team members or the officials, as they have been described, should not earn bonus for every match won. Because your duty is to see the team through to qualify for a tournament. So we can pay you per diem, but we will not pay you a winning bonus. Your winning bonus is actually qualification. What you should describe as a success as a management team member is qualification. So when we qualify, you will be sorted out appropriately. And so we cannot be paying you for every game that we win. As if even for the players in future, it's a conversation that we can have, whether we should keep that. But the other argument has been that players are normally not permanent. You call them as and when. The person can come and play 1 or 2 games and will get an injury that will keep the person out completely from the team. So if you don't pay the person for his success and he's out of the team, how are you going to manage such a person when the team ultimately qualifies? Are you going to pay the person despite not being in the team? Or what are you going to do? But for the management people, they are appointed and they have kind of like a security of assured tenure unless they are so incompetent that the FA decides to take them off. They will be there throughout the period to be able to see the team through. So in their case, you are assured that they will still be there when the team qualifies, if they work hard together with all the other departments of the game. So that is why we actually thought that be taken off completely.
Now, Honorable, you also took away some $5,000 that was supposed to be allocated for fuel for the bus. And before you came in, I think there was a caller on the line who was speaking about fuel for bus if they were going to power, if they were going to fuel a jet or something. Honorable, why did you take out that budget line item?
Well,
and what was the explanation for that introduction?
Like I said earlier, the Stars have a bus.
Okay.
But the bus is not an electric bus, so it runs on fuel.
Okay.
So the FA thought that there should be some commitment from government as far as fuel is concerned. But we also thought that as for fuel of the bus around, it should not be a line that has to be added to the budget. It can be taken care of from the ministry's goods and services. There are a number of things that we normally take care of from our goods and services, so fuel should be one of them. And we don't think that fuel for the rounds that they will make during this period will be that much beyond our capacity that we cannot take care of it from our budget that has already been approved. So
the arrangement of paying the players $5,000 and should they qualify, the remaining $5,000 will be given to them. Did it sit well with the players? How did they take it? How did they accept that arrangement? Because there's a possibility if they don't qualify, they may never get that $5,000.
Well, that's why they must qualify. That's why they must qualify. We didn't just select. We didn't form a team just for playing sake also. We are a nation that is highly respected when it comes to football. So if we select you, you must qualify. So it's another way of motivating you. If you feel motivated by the bonuses that I have to qualify to make sure that I get the rest. What happens to the country also if we pay you full bonuses and you win only a few matches and take that away and you don't also qualify? So we don't get anything.
Okay.
Because if we don't qualify, beyond maybe the fact of maybe advertising, the numbers that will come to the stadium, the joy of it, and so on and so forth, and the pain of losing and what have you, we will not get anything. We spent money for playing the qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations. We didn't qualify, so we will not get anything. Those who qualify will get something. Can you imagine if we were paying maybe full bonuses for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers? We would have paid for the games that they won, but we still didn't qualify. So we have earned nothing. We have lost. We want to cut our loss just in case, and also motivate others that we haven't given you everything. There's still something to be taken. So you surely will come back for it. So you work hard, and in your case of coming back for it, is working hard to qualify.
Right. Honorable, this cost-cutting measure that you introduced since you took over from match day 5, match day 6, match day 7, and now match day 8, has that been the practice? Has it always been the case that ministers or government has always cut the budget to make sure what is estimated is not what is actually given the team? Has that always
from
been
the
practice?
records that I saw, as far as this World Cup qualifiers is concerned, unfortunately, it's not been the case. So the estimate comes, the ministry will chauffeur the estimate with a covering letter to the office of the president. The office of the president will just also write to the finance to release the monies requested for both March day 1, 2, 3, and 4. That was what happened. So there were no cuts. I have had some conversation with the former Minister of Sports who indicated that they were not paying some officers and the rest, but that the document that we have says otherwise. And that they work to cut some numbers and cut things, but we don't have that evidence as far as the documentation is concerned. And they are there. Letters signed by the Chief of Staff, Madame Akosia Freeman Opari, to the Finance Minister to release monies are there. And the attachments are there to show. You compare that to what has happened in 2025 for both March Day 5, 6, and 7, and 8. You see a clear difference that what was brought was not what was ultimately approved. So what was approved is far less than what was brought because some work was done. You see, the thing about approval and saying, once you approve something and saying, there's the likelihood of it being released. And if it get released, the likelihood of it being spent wrongly. That is why if you have the authority to approve something, you must approve only what you want to be spent within a certain time. You don't approve with the mindset that, we expect this kind of expenditure to be done in future, so we are approving it today.
Okay.
Per the arrangements of budgets, usually when you approve and the budget cycle comes to an end and it is not utilized, it is returned to the chest. And that explains why you must not seek approval for something that you don't intend to spend in that particular budget cycle. So why approve 10,000 in 2024 when you are not going to spend the 10,000 in 2024? Okay. Because the qualification will be determined only in 2025. So it means that in your 2024 budget, when you approve, you approve an expenditure of 10,000. That remaining 5,000 cannot be spent in that year.
Okay.
So it must not feature in your approvals, because if it features and it gets released, it can be spent.
Yeah.
Not for why and what it has been released for, but for other things. Only for you to come and incur some the debt that you need to be paid. That is why it's important. Even in the 2025 budget that was read early this year by Finance Minister Atuforsen, because we haven't qualified, it cannot capture those payments. So it is only the 2026 budget that will be read later this year that will have to capture those additional payments, because by that time we know our situation.
Okay.
By maybe by Monday the 8th, depending on what happens in the two games, you can know clearly that you have qualified.
Okay.
If you don't get to know that you have qualified by these two games, by the next games also you will know whether, and that is in October. So at least you would have known before the presentation of the budget.
Right.
And all these issues will be captured.
Well, Honorable, let's look at the budget for the Ghana-Mali match, which is a home game. And then we'll look at how much savings you've made ever since you assumed office in terms of match day 5, match day 6, and then match day 7, match day 8. Let's get an appreciation of how much government has saved by departing slightly from the estimate that was proposed and the actual that was approved?
So the home game, that's Ghana versus Mali, we have an expenditure of approved $463,600. This is so because the travel tickets for both in and out has already been captured in the Chad versus Ghana approval. Okay. So you are not going to be buying tickets for them to return. Okay. You have already bought the ticket for them, so you don't have tickets in the home game as we did in the away game, because that one captured all those details. Then you also have what again? What was sent for my consideration was $814,150, but what was ultimately approved was $463,600. So these are the things. I'm not really interested in savings as in savings, but I'll call it that it's prudence. And then we decided, for purposes of accounting transparency and making sure that nothing untoward happens along the line, let's only approve what must be spent now.
Okay.
And not approve what will be spent in future, when there will be opportunity for you to approve in that future later as it should be done. So that's what we did. So against 800, we approved 463, and then against 1.2 something, we approved 856. So these are things that we did. But generally, like I said, since March the 5, we have not just approved what comes, but the fact that what has been approved is even less doesn't also mean that everything has been paid. We still owe for some of the services that were rendered for even March the 5, March the 6. We still owe. We still owe for services that were rendered even in 2022 World Cup and World Cup qualifiers. We still owe.
But why is that so?
Well, the hotels are writing to us that they were not paid. The ticketing agents are writing to us that they were not paid for tickets that they issued either for the World Cup or even for the qualifiers. Vendors, some vendors who supply one thing or the other are saying they have not been paid. And so all these things are there. They are part of debts that we are verifying to see what we can handle with them. We also have come and we also owe for some of the services that have been rendered. And I've been on the heels of the finance minister to get things sorted out so we could clear some of our current indebtedness whilst we continue to verify the old ones and see what we can do about them.